Hello everyone and welcome to the 2017 Steady Ed Hall of Fame Classic, the final PDGA National Tour event of the 2017 season. We're at the International Disc Golf Center, and believe it or not, this is the fifth card. You wouldn't know it by the looks of Locastro, Lizotte, Perkins, and JohnE McCray, but I guarantee you it's going to be entertaining. We've got a great group in store. This is round 2 of 3 of the bonus coverage, right here with the Disc Golf Guy. As I mentioned earlier, fifth card featuring Perkins, Lizotte, McCray, and Locastro. Perkins sits at 11 under, the other three at 10 under par, and we've moved over to the Jackson course, the W.R. Jackson course. They had the opening round at the Steady Ed Hall of Fame course. A much more challenging and demanding Jackson course. We've seen some amazing rounds take place here throughout the years. In fact, this course featured during the 2017 PDGA World Championships, one of two. Lizotte with an amazing roller a moment ago, and JohnE McCray, a little more conventional, right up the middle. These players are just trying to make the bend. If you don't make the bend, you are not going to be able to get the birdie 3. And that's going to be close, whether or not he's actually got all the way through there. Perkins has put himself in a really good position. Perkins versed with both a forehand and backhand whenever he needs it. He loves to rely on that forehand, and a very rare forehand by Nikko Locastro. Tough to see exactly where that came down. And this is great position for JohnE McCray. And unfortunately, he hits the tree, kicks him to the left side. This is a massive crush here by Lizotte. To have such an easy standstill forehand, there are plenty of players in the field that would have loved to have that tee shot. Right now, McCray's just looking to get up and down. Taking a 4 here isn't so bad. This is a great hole to start, of course, with the birdie. But like I said, if you don't make that bend on the initial tee shot, you are not going to card the birdie, and Simon Lizotte with a solid start. Nate Perkins also starting out with a birdie here. This par 4, 660 feet. Looks like Locastro and McCray may have to just settle for a couple of pars. You'll find this course, again, much more challenging than we saw in the previous round. 17 to go. Hole number 2 on deck. And just like that, Nate Perkins is out. He's maintaining the small lead he had on the rest of the group. They've got a lot of work to do, as I said, coming in on the 5th card. Hole 2, 390 feet. This is a relatively simple shot for a righty backhand thrower. Simon just keeping it wide to the right. You really want to throw it low, maybe play a little bit of the skip at the end, but essentially you're looking for that straight shot with just a little bit of finish. Both Perkins and McCray really nailing the shot you're going for. And looks like Nikko, he's flexing that one fully, gets the final skip. That looks to be in a really good spot now. Not only did he not have the distance, but plenty of trouble between him and the basket. McCray left just inside circle's edge. And he's on the board with a birdie. As you can see by the flag, not very much wind. This course is very wooded, maybe even a little more so than what we found over at the Steady Ed course on the other side of the property. Nikko opting for the straddle. Short, And even a short routine out of Nikko. He's on the board. Don't look so mad, Simon. Looks like you were left out of the birdie party.
How does it feel? What did you say?
Looks like you were left out of it.
Yeah, look, they're leaving and just leaving me behind. It feels like I don't belong here.
You belong, pal. You definitely belong. Hopefully you guys are entertained. Simon admittedly had said when I came up and showed up on the card for a little extra action, he's like, "What are you doing here? This is the 5th card." I'm like, "Yeah, looked like a good card, so I figured I'd come film it." So that's exactly how this went down. I believe Jomez, maybe even Central Coast were on the first card or two. And so, again, being bonus coverage, I thought I'd run out and get an entertaining card. So here we are. We're on hole number 3, 252 feet. And this is a really straightforward shot for these players, literally and figuratively. You just want to throw it right up the middle. You shouldn't really flirt with too much. You don't need too much flex or bend. If you can throw it dead straight, that's what you're looking for. And McCray's got a really long look at birdie. Oh, and a lot of chain on that right side, but just not enough pull there. McCray staring it down a little bit. He wishes that one would have maybe stuck. And on the opposite side, a little bit left. Not quite the height for Perkins. Simon, however, short and easy. He's going to put that one in for the birdie. And Nikko with the park job here. You're going to see in the next set of coverage, you're going to see Matt Simpson from Country Disc Golf. He went out and recorded. He showed up during the 2nd round of the tournament. He grabbed some footage, so you're going to see a little bit different style. You have a little commentary by myself and Johnny V for that one. I hope that you guys enjoy it. Meanwhile, this card's moving on to hole number 4. Everybody picking up a couple birdies here. On hole 4, I moved to where the bend is on this hole. Otherwise, if I were standing directly behind the players, it would really just be a long drive with a hyzer that you have no idea where it finishes. So I'm standing about 3/4, maybe 2/3 of the way down the hole. And after a couple of bounces, that kicks back out to the fairway. You're really looking to throw it similar to what we saw on hole 2. It needs to be straight with a little hyzer finish. You don't want too much of a flare skip, and that is just about perfect landing zone there for Perkins. If it flares too much, you're going to be fighting the other trees, and if you don't hyzer enough, you're going to be fighting the trees here on this right side. So there is a defined tunnel that you must hit, and Nikko hit early, and another forehand. The forehand counters at 2. And naturally, I say the forehand counter just because both Nikko and McCray, for instance, both have been working on their forehands. Both are certainly establishing them as part of their game, but they're not known for them. Not the way we see a Perkins or a Lizotte, for instance. And again, Perkins with a really good position here. You can go up the middle, which is a little bit of a riskier route. You could play a flex shot. Now, Simon...
So bad. Love it. Oh.
You can't get away from my camera, Simon. And Nikko's trying to take the Iron Man route here.
Hit a lot of things. Hit a lot of...
Nikko, again, fighting up that left-hand side, and Simon's really just trying to...
Five it from there. So bad.
He's just trying to poke out, realizing he may miss an opportunity. Asking, how do you 5 it from there? McCray trusting the forehand, and I love it. What a shot by McCray. Said he's got some kind of a Ricky kick there, or a Ricky trick.
Wow, that was excellent.
And a quick approach there by Perkins from that right side. Just barely caught it. Lizotte could save the par here. And as he said, he's going to take a 5. So that's going to be a blemish. The first one on the scorecard, a bogey, that is. And Nikko knew right away, as soon as that hit, that had the possibility of getting up and rolling down the hill. That's why he's asking for it to sit down. Not quite what this group was looking for. Little aggression here as Nikko taps in on hole number 4. Hole 5 is going to be another par 4. And it doesn't really get any easier. We're looking at 645 feet. You have a very small gap to play down. You're looking to make sure you stay clean. That's the ultimate goal here. You need to stay clean on this tee shot. And McCray's looks like it's doing just that. This hole has a hook to it. And just simply watching the flight is the best way to explain this hole. You want it to go down. Nikko steps up very quickly. And it bends from left to right. And now you're going to have a little bit of a right to left approach depending on where you've landed. You may have to spend an extra stroke or two just to get back into the fairway. As you can see, Nikko is on the fringe of the fairway. And he slices through those trees. I think he got away with one there. And Lizotte with a backhand standstill, patent pending roller shot. He's got to be happy with that effort. He says a little bit more juice, but that was a very, very difficult shot. And trying to fight through that left side is Perkins. There are, of course, a number of alleyways to take here, but you need to make sure you're hitting your line. There's really no forgiveness on this hole. And at this point, a lot of our players, just like we saw in the previous hole, if you're not looking at the birdie, you just want to make sure you get up and down, take that par. That may sound all too obvious to you, but you can't let your frustrations get the best of you when you're out here playing such a difficult and demanding course. Nikko's doesn't seem to be quite dialed in just yet. We'll see if he picks that up. And again, a right side, just a bit off from McCray. It looked good out of his hand. He was just outside the circle's edge. Very unenthusiastic tap in there by Nikko. We've got Latitude 64 sponsor, JohnE McCray, a couple Discmania guys, and I believe Nikko with a mixed bag, not necessarily representing any one disc golf manufacturer with his sponsorship these days. And here's a pro move. JohnE McCray is going to double check just exactly how far he was. That string is 10 meters. Yep, looks like you were just outside that string there, Johnny. 4 pars on the group. Everybody a little frustrated they couldn't get under on that one. 618 feet, the par 4, hole number 6. You're looking for a landing zone yet again. I think you're going to hear me say that quite a bit on this course, but that's what you need. You have to land in a specific area if you want any chance to attack a pin and possibly get a birdie. And that's a great looking shot by McCray. Maybe a little bit short and left. There's really just one way to go at this hole. You need to throw it straight up the middle. It's just a matter of how far can you penetrate. And that looks like a great shot by Lizotte. Nikko throwing a little bit of a flex, as we see him do quite often. And with where he is on that short left side, goes with his third forehand. Would have loved a little more air under that, possibly carry and hook up. I like the play here. Perkins keeping it nice and low, trying to get a little bit of extra footage out of the skip. And McCray back-to-back holes with forehands. That was wide and right. I'm a little bit surprised by that forehand, personally. Just because I think he might have had a better angle, but what do I know? Perkins accepting his fate as a par here, possibly.
Why do you do that?
Locastro, a little frustrated that he's just off his mark. McCray with a long birdie look. Hey, bang, bang from way back. Somebody counting those steps out. We're going to say that was like 300 feet. I'm just kidding. It wasn't 300 feet. A little bit more conventional, inside 30 feet. Simon waving to all the fans. And speaking of our fans, I just want to thank everyone out here that's tuning in, watching the action. Hope you're enjoying this. I know this is coming a few months after the event, but I feel like we've got great caliber players. We got an amazing course. And hopefully this extra footage is keeping you occupied as we gear up for our 2018 season and all the sweet actions that's to come. McCray, look at that. 298 feet for the birdie. Hole 7 is a dog leg to the right. Most of the players are looking to just get right about to the hilltop, maybe a little bit past it. There's a slight incline there, and you can see Simon with plenty of distance, but getting all the way into that wooded area on the long side is not going to benefit him at all. I would say a perfect shot gets past those trees right there and a little forward from that. That looks to be about where you want to land. Estimate of a 50-footer is given to McCray there.
That was really bad.
Simon says that was really bad. As a few of you have commented, I think you would be fine with some of the really bad shots, so to speak, that Simon takes. And more so than the actual distance or the angle, you have to worry a little bit about footing here. You heard Nikko kind of kicking away a few pine cones. There's also a few roots and other things that you want to make sure your footing is good. And Nikko looks to be getting on track there. That was a really solid approach, just short and right of the pin. Long run by Simon. McCray, who has McCray's found himself right side chains a couple times. He may have made a slight adjustment there. That one looked to be on the right angle, but just a bit high. Nikko's going to take the birdie. Doesn't seem excited about it, but he's had a few struggles here as Simon taps in. Again, lack of wind blowing that, not blowing that flag around, I guess I should say. A little bit of an indicator. Relatively calm. Temps are in the 70s with some humidity. It's Georgia. Guess that's exactly what you would expect. And Locastro going to take the honors with a 3. Scores are still relatively tight at this point. Nobody doing anything to light it up. Hole 8, a par 5, 990 feet. You're going to find all of our players are going to opt for this right-hand side. There technically is a left gap, but really no one takes it. There's a thinner one you can see. There's a lot more room here on this right side. You're trying to move up as far as you can, but you, again, can't have it flare left or right because you'll find yourself on the edge of the woods, and you're going to need a run-up. Perkins from that right side. Most of the players are going to opt. There's an island of trees. So just like the front half of the hole, in theory, this hole looks a lot like a figure 8. If you imagine the big gaping spots of the 8 to be these island of trees. So you really want to go out to the right side of the bottom of an 8 and then the inside on the top left. So if that makes sense for those that can imagine an 8. But looks like JohnE McCray's option is to go out to the right side of this second half. Meanwhile, trying to bend it around. Not quite enough there by Perkins. And Nikko's shot is off to the right. He's got to go with a standstill. I think he was looking for a little bit of a skip. You hear him yell, "Come on." And it's just really easy to get caught up by things, and sometimes the skips aren't there when you're playing for them. JohnE McCray lining up a long jumper. We'll see if he can duplicate his effort. Oh, what a run. That was about the same distance we saw back on hole 6.
Oh my goodness.
And a long side by Locastro. Birdie. It's easy to lose count out here. It's a birdie for Lizotte with a 4.
Stop.
Courtesy warning, Nikko. Cut it out.
Hey, dude, come on, dude. I can say I suck at disc golf if I want to. Come on,
I gave you
dude.
a courtesy warning. Cut it out, man. No need for the cussing, dude.
And Nate Perkins giving out an official courtesy warning here to Nikko. We've seen Nikko kind of heat up throughout these first 7 or 8 holes. He did get the birdie on 7, but I think it's fair to say he hasn't been playing up to his standards for the most part. And Perkins decides to call him on a warning, and it's just that. It's a warning. It gets written down as such on the scorecard. If there were to be another courtesy violation to take place anytime throughout the round, that would then constitute a penalty stroke. So right now, tensions might be a little bit higher than what you would expect. And we're over here on 9, 399 feet. And this hole used to be visible. However, in the last few years, they've moved this pin back into the right, really making it a much more of a dogleg shot. And the first 2 shots were pretty much on point. Nikko's looks to be good, just a bit short.
Got up there.
But you really just need that turn from left to right. You'll see, you've seen a forehand now by Perkins. And I got to tell you, even though I'm just a cameraman walking along, tensions are there. You know, anytime you have a courtesy warning to be called, here's Nikko following it up, hitting the side of the basket. One's got to wonder, would he have had that exact same reaction on that putt had he just not been warned on the previous hole? So those are all things and some of the dynamics you really got to think about that are going on. Sometimes you guys don't get quite that feeling as Lizotte gives it a run and a half smile. And McCray's going to use that string. That's going to be his 10-meter indicator. That lets him know if he's able to jump putt or not. And soon we're going to be wrapping things up here, the front nine. I just wanted to say again, thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to have the back nine birdie. We're going to have the back nine coming at you in just a few moments. We're going to see how these players deal with any kind of stress or pressures or tensions. Nobody running away with it or having an amazing round here on the front. We'll see if that can change as we move to the back. If you like what I'm doing, support me via Patreon. Otherwise, even if you don't like what I'm doing, well, then don't support me. Either way, you get to watch some disc golf, and I'm glad you're here for it. We'll see you guys on the back nine.